Good morning, Bella Vista. We're back with Let's Talk About It. I'm really excited today. We have a couple of guests that one of them is a friend of mine, the other one is going to be a friend of mine. We're talking about the Veterans Wall of Honor. And today I'd like to introduce to you Raymond. Can we call you Ray?
Ray is fine, yes.
Brust?
Brust.
Brust, okay. And you're the president of the organization.
Yeah, I have been for several years.
Okay. And Beau, Regan?
Yes, ma'am.
And Beau, I know they say, I want to know what a vice president of public relations does. We'll talk about that.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
But Ray, could you kind of give us a little bit of a background, little history, like an elevator speech, maybe?
Okay, well, we have been here since 2001, and I'm going to have a little presentation of slides soon, and this will be kind of mentioned on there, but we were organized in 2001, and it took a couple of years to get started on the Wall of Honor, and so that makes us about, 22 years old? Something to that effect.
Yeah, you're just a baby.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of changes since the beginning to now, trying to adapt with the times and so on, and of course the needs of our the memorialization of veterans, and that's our mission, of course.
Yes.
So yeah, it's been trying at times, but a lot of fun other times.
Nothing worthwhile is easy.
I understand.
Yes. And Beau, what is your role? Tell us about you a little bit.
I am new to the association, a few months now. Well, I've known him for a while. We've worked together. I basically just handle the website, the public relations, just how we represent ourselves to the world.
To the community. You were the one that called me actually and said, hey.
Yes, ma'am.
So, and you have your own business. We'll talk about that some other time, but that's how I know you.
Yes, ma'am.
Good service you offer, for sure.
Thank you, JB.
You're welcome.
So I can add to that, though, as the Vice President of Public Relations, he just has a big part to do in our organization. He's basically responsible for brochures and writing entries into the newspaper, articles, all of those kind of things that brings us into the public's eye. And of course, that's why we're here today.
So you have a board?
We do.
Okay, and you guys are representing the board today.
We are representing the board.
You know what, let's jump right into that presentation you were talking about.
Okay,
and I think we're going to be showing you some things here on the screen in a few minutes.
Okay.
There we go.
Well, that's our logo that you see there. We're very proud of that. That says a lot about our organization. The stars at the top there are the different services, and then of course the eagle is the symbol of our country, sitting on the entrance to the Wall of Honor, which is here in Bella Vista, bringing that coverage over one organization. We're all unified into that one organization. That's the Wall of Honor you see there, the entranceway. So next slide, please. Continue, please.
One more. There we go.
There we go. As I mentioned, in 2001, there were some members of the local American Legion and the Veterans, VFW. And they got together, they're all friends, and decided that we need to put up a memorial. And so we went about doing that and raising funds and designing the property, looking for property actually, and we settled on the property that was behind the VFW over by, at that time, Lake Bella Vista. And so construction started in about 2003, finished about 2 years later. And it is what it is today. When you go out there, you can see the Wall of Honor.
It floods every now and then in that area, doesn't it?
It has in the past, but now that the dam has broken through, maybe we won't experience that as much.
Yes.
We never know what's going to happen, but
that's true.
The problem with that is that, as I understand it, back when I was a child, and I was raised here, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm a graduate of Rogers High School. And back in those days, there was a little fishing farm there. The public could come and trout fish across from us. There was a dance hall, I believe, on the concrete block there. It's in the parking lot.
That's right.
And the entranceway to the Wall of Honor was across the dam with vehicles. Of course, the dam is aged and come bad and is now, of course, open. But that's kind of a low spot in the area. And so that was the entranceway, as I mentioned. But once that dam is closed, then the traffic has to come around the other way, and that makes it kind of hard to get if you don't know where we are. So we're hoping that that will reopen. But again, back in those days, it was using the 80-20 principle. 80% grass around in the area and 20% concrete. Well, today that's kind of reversed. And so that caused that water to collect in that area and it floods.
Absolutely.
And so
All right. Yeah, all right, let's move on here.
Yes, please. So next slide, please. As I mentioned, it started in October the 1st, 2003 and was completed in 2004. And we had a dedication at that time, dedicated as the Veterans Wall of Honor. The mission of the next slide, the mission of our group, one more please, yes, is to recognize and to honor all military veterans, all branches of service, all those who have served us faithfully. And we do that in kind of two ways. One of them is the memorial that you see out here in Bella Vista. And the other way is we have an honor guard, where we do military honors for deceased veterans. You turn the page. You can see this is a picture of our honor guard doing a 4th of July parade here in Bella Vista. And the next one, please. And this is our honor guard doing a funeral here at a local church. I believe it's over by Regan Hall, if I remember correctly.
Fun fact about our honor guard, there are only 15 certified honor guards in the state of Arkansas, and our honor guard is one of them.
Excellent. Good to know. They always bring tears to my eyes. I don't know why.
Yeah, when you talk about the honor guard, of course, 15 is not a large number. We used to do a lot of funerals on a regular basis. I've done as many as 3 in a day. And now we get one maybe twice a month, something to that effect. I'm not sure what the average is. But most of the World War II veterans are now deceased. And so we're into the Vietnam era, the era of my age. Yeah. And yeah, so it has decreased some. But we stand ready to do that. And every veteran is entitled to military honors. There's no charge for that. We do it simply by request. And it comes from the funeral director. But in watching the events, and you see what this means to a family who has a deceased person, a military veteran, in their family, it can be tear-rendering.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, so it's a very appropriate thing to do. And as we said on our form there, we stand ready to do that at any time.
Yes.
Moving along to the next slide. This is the current Veterans Wall of Honor as it stands there today. This was the original design of the group that designed it in the very beginning. And you'll see there's 3 rings of walls and 18 flags around the perimeter of that. Each one of those has a significant reason for being there. They were used in our American history. And on the Wall of Honor, the next slide, please. It's a little bit further out. You'll see we have a fairly large parking area by that. Next slide. This is a timetable. It goes from the Wars of Independence in 1760 all the way through U.S. forces attacking Iraq. Beginning with the Battle of Lexington and Concord and Bunker Hill in 1775. Next slide is a continuation. That slide is some of the awards that are given to veterans and their meaning. All of these are brass plaques that are on the walls out there. So you begin to see that this is a historical monument showing a lot of things. The next slide is some certain battles that are have significance and we want to recognize.
How are you funded?
We are funded by donations only.
Gotcha. We'll talk more about that
Donations,
later.
and we're going to
Yeah.
talk about that a little
Yeah,
bit.
okay.
The next slide is a picture of all of the presidents who were in the U.S. military, all the way from George Washington to George Bush. And in the center, you can see this fountain. It's a commemorative fountain. This particular picture was taken in the fall, and the fountain is turned off. But we run that from May until, I believe, October, and we turn that off. Beautiful fountain, beautiful setting. You can see the plants there on the side. In the background on that particular slide, you can actually see a piece of the wall showing the names. We have over 4,800 names in this memorial. Actually, I think it's around 4,800 names in there. Next slide, please. On the east side of the interior wall, this is the preamble to the Constitution, along with the symbols of all of the services. And the next. And on the opposite side is this saying from Thomas Paine. He made that in 1776. It was in a paper that he wrote called The American Crisis. And of course, at the time, we're talking about the Revolutionary War and our fight for freedom. And I pay particular attention to this because I recall when I was in grade school, I had to memorize that.
Oh, I know. Back then, we had to
Yeah.
do that stuff, didn't we?
We did, and why
Did
we
you,
have
Beau?
lost
No, you didn't have to do that?
No.
why we have lost that requirement, I don't know, because it is so pertinent. Even today, going over these words, it says, these are the times that try men's souls. Certainly is today.
And my mother was a school teacher, so I certainly had to do this stuff.
Yeah, and what he's saying there is that people will talk a lot about it,
Yes.
and will say certain things, but when it comes right down to doing it, a lot of people kind of hide.
Do you think that's kind of applicable to what's happening in the world right
It is, it certainly is. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of his country. But he that stands it now, the military, the people that stand up and defend our country, deserves the thanks of man and woman. And that's what we do there at the Wall of Honor.
Yes.
On the next slide, you'll see how we do that. These are bricks of people. Each one of those an individual who has served our country. As I mentioned, over 4,800 names out there. And when I look at this slide, I recently was at Little Rock Air Force Base, and I recall going in through the gate, and there is probably 3 or 4 air police people there. And as you proceed, you pass by administration, and then you pass by the mess hall or chow hall, and the BX and the pharmacy and the military parts. And you begin to realize just how many people it takes to put that person on the front line.
Yeah.
Just thousands and thousands of them. And then you go on to the flight line and you see, all the mechanics and the aircraft sitting there. Now, that has to be maintained by just numbers and numbers of people. Well, 4,800 of those are on our wall, and we want more. And that brings us to what we're doing today.
Okay.
On the next slide, here we have continuous inquiries about how to get their name on the wall. We have ever since 2014 when that current wall was completed. And so that caused us to think about, well, how are we going to be able to do that? Well, we have 2.5 acres there. So we decided that we would kind of expand. On the next slide, you'll see what area we have. You can see the Wall of Honor in the middle of that area and the blank spot on the right-hand side. And that was added to because the old VFW building was condemned because of moisture coming from the lakes and whatever, was condemned and removed. And so that property was acquired by us. So now we have 2.5 acres there to do that. Well, how do we best go about it? And the next slide will show some rationale. It's a beautiful and a peaceful place to come and to talk about your family if you want to, or just look at the names and think about all of the effort that has been put into providing our freedoms, into defending our nation, and all of that that has been given up by all of those people who are listed on those bricks. It also, it also draws a lot of people from the community. We have, every time you go out there, you'll see people walking around looking at it. And I have come to them several times and asked them where they were from. And I've seen people from California in there and people from Dakotas in there. It's just interesting how people will find their way there.
Yeah.
But I must also say that we send brochures to the welcoming centers. So that brings people, into this area. Mm-hmm. So the Wall of Honor has got to be something that Bella Vista appreciates and recognizes, mm-hmm. and of course supports. And we're coming to that in a moment. But anyway, with the proper publication and advertising, we can just get a lot of people coming in here, which
yes.
There's a lot of benefit from that. This is one of my favorites here at the top of the next slide, number 1 there. We're talking about the park being a teaching tool, and as I mentioned to you a while ago and showed you, there is a lot of historical information there. So schools will send the classes there, and we have a person who will explain to them all of those plaques and the meaning of all of those. So it's very much a learning tool. And I think our children really do need to visit the park. We haven't had so much since COVID, but we would like to see that build back up again.
Yes.
And of course, all the regular visitors who come out there. Now we have the bike path. And
yes.
we have a lot of visitors coming in
yes.
for the bike path,
mm-hmm.
the Razorback Greenway. And that's an important part to consider, thinking about us. So overall, the park kind of becomes a military museum in that sense. Mm-hmm. And of course, when we expand, we have a plan to put an aircraft right here. And it's not on this one, but it is on some of the others.
Where's it coming from?
Pensacola is where we're hopeful it'll come from.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll mention that in just a moment.
Okay.
So the next slide, just one that says an overview of what we're about to do. This is a picture from the air of our property, and as I mentioned, 2.5 acres there. And we have not long ago put in the sidewalks that you can see. And the area between the sidewalk, kind of enclosed on the right-hand side there, is where we're going to do our expansion. And when it's done, it will look something like this one right here. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if the camera can get that or not, but there is 5 32-foot circles here.
Maybe we can zoom in a little bit, somebody, and see.
Okay, we'll get a better picture of that here in a little bit
minute,
later.
okay.
But yeah, I can just kind of explain. And these 5 circles are separated by a planter with a tree in them, and a larger circle in the center with a one-piece wall all the way around the edge of that. So the next slide, please. That's kind of a vertical picture of what our plan is. You can see those.
See the circles.
The circles in there. The next slide is a little closer. Well, not that one, but we'll go on to that. That's another rendition. Well, it went back.
Yeah.
So you can see those circles in there. There's 5 of them at 32 foot and one 48-foot platform in the middle of that. And we can have meetings there, or people can use the facility for any kind of a memorial they'd like, or an event of some sort. It'll be open to the public to do that. Okay, now back onto the next slide, that one. This is a artist rendition of what it will look like. This is a fairly new rendition, and you can see the airplane sitting there on that one. Okay, I think we have a video too, that a walkthrough.
Let's do that.
So yeah, on this walkthrough, it begins at the parking lot, and we make a right turn, beginning right here, and coming along to, and those benches are in place, by the way.
Oh, good.
Already,
okay.
yes. And so on the left, we can see entry into the first pad. I'm not sure these are quite exact. I think those trees will be a little bit further away from the sidewalk. But this first pad is now in place. We have completed that, and the wall on the right-hand side is complete. So we're ready to put name bricks in there. So from this first pad, you can see the center there to the left, and then moving along to the right, passing the first planter with a tree in it onto these pads. Now, we haven't decided exactly what to put on all these walls. We'll have some images and some memorial events and a variety of things, which will be interesting to view and to discuss. And we can walk around connecting to the next pad. You see the larger one there again to the center.
Wow, this is going to be fabulous.
It is. It is. It will be something to behold. And then moving along to the next pad.
What?
I was just going to say, our mission is to memorialize veterans.
Yeah.
And this is the whole reason we're doing this, to memorialize more of our heroes.
That's right.
And then from the last pad, we can move back towards the center. And this is an area where we can put up chairs and do whatever we want to do to have event. And you can see that continuous wall along the west side of that. We can put illustrations in there or blocks, just a number of different things. That's all to be decided yet. And then, of course, coming away from that, from the aerial view, you can see the whole thing. The current Wall of Honor is in the background. You can see it over past the plane there.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And it'll really be something.
Beau, are you helping with any of that landscaping?
We haven't started talks about that yet.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
I mean, the size of the park, though, I mean, there haven't been any talks of this, but potentially, it could be a national park or a, national memorial.
You could.
Just from the size of it.
So what got you involved in all of this? What I mean, besides being a veteran, that's obvious, but why step in and become the VP of Public Relations?
I like to do a lot for the community, help out where I can, and these guys,
They're convincing?
they were after
Did they
me.
do any of this?
They were after me for about a year
Kinda.
there.
I gotcha.
But I just kind of make the time to help out where I can, and it's a good cause.
It's nice to see younger people coming in, taking on the responsibilities and helping out and
It's
doing
a
all of that.
necessity.
There you go.
The problem is younger people have jobs and families that they have to take care of. And as the people on the board have come to realize, this is pretty much a full-time job.
Yeah.
I retired from my secular job in 2008 and then started working, kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
We are looking for more active members.
Are you?
Especially with our honor guard and with the council.
This next slide shows the way it is today. This is what you can see out there. As far as the orange partition there is removed, but the first pad and the first wall, and you can see the dark area in the middle there is where we're going to put the first batch of names, and we're almost got it full.
Yeah, we got about 5 minutes here.
Okay, well, let's move along. Just flip through these, if you will. Oh, there's a picture of an airplane. Continue on, if you would,
Yeah, continue.
through the airplane.
Just keep going, folks.
Into fundraising.
Are we going to talk about?
Yeah, you can see that we put about $100,000 in this ourselves, so that's about 10% of seed money. So we'll move along to the next slide. This is kind of what the estimate was when we first got it. This is probably about 3 years old. It was about $1.2 million estimated, probably $1.5 million now. And so we put in the first $100,000 of that. And this slide is just, we're hoping for public support. And I know the first time when it first went up, the first wall, Bella Vista just climbed all over it immediately. The funds just really flowed. And I'm hoping that Bella Vista will again do that. And how you go about it is there at the bottom. You can go to our website, or you can just send me an email and let me know who you are, and I will give you guidance from there.
Okay.
So that kind of finishes the slide presentation.
But I think Beau's got something to explain here, right?
Yes.
About, come on, Beau,
Oh.
it's your turn, buddy.
Okay.
flash it up here on the screen in a minute.
Got you. We're going to be raffling off a brick on the new wall segment that we showed. And it's going to be, tickets are going to be $1 per ticket. It's going to be from March 1st to April 12th. We're going to do a live drawing on our Facebook page. We just created a Facebook page. A lot of people don't know that the Veterans Council is behind the Wall of Honor. A lot of people don't put the two together. So we've created a social media to go along with our website so the community can interact with us more. March 11th, we're going to be out in front of Allen's.
Okay.
9:30 to 4 p.m. The honor guard will be with us. We're going to have flag stickers for the kids, dum-dums, little suckers, kids love them.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could reach out to us at NWA Veterans Council on Facebook. Give us a like and follow. But yeah, that's it. We're gonna be raffling off a brick on the new wall.
Okay, well that sounds great. And we're so grateful. The community works so well together here. Steve Morrow at Allen's is always ready to do whatever needs to do. So.
And I can tell you the value, or to place a brick on the wall now, is $175. We had to increase that recently because of the way the economy is moving.
Right.
But we're going to have this particular raffle run a 2-month period from the 1st of March to the 1st of April. And our drawing will be on April the 12th. And we will see who wins that. If you don't have a veteran to the winner, if they don't have a veteran, we'll find a veteran.
Yes, I'm sure.
To put on that brick.
Yeah.
So yeah, please support that.
Yes. Well, maybe we can help out the closer we get. Send me some progress, and if nothing else, I'll just say hey. Sure. And remind people about this.
Well, and if you would like to sponsor a veteran, in our community, you could just go to vetwallofhonor.org, and there's a tab there to sponsor a veteran.
Okay.
Doesn't necessarily have to be family. Maybe it could be someone in your community that you look up to.
That's good to know as well.
Nor do they have to be deceased. They could also be persons currently on active duty, if we like. So.
Well, there's a lot to celebrate and a lot to be thankful for. And we're thankful for you guys, for sure.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being my guest today. And Beau, thanks for that phone call. You didn't know where that was going to end up.
No, ma'am.
Relationships help. They really do.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm so glad to meet you.
Okay.
Now I know you, so look out.
Okay, very good.
All right. Well, thank you, Bella Vista. This has been another Let's Talk About It. So let's all go out and support this worthy cause and keep the, whatever you'd like us to talk about, let me know, and we will.
Okay, very good.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye, Bella Vista. Until next month.
Cut the black.